my impression of this competition is that it's a very interesting way to listen to musicians who have not only to play Chopin music, of course, but also to choose on which piano they are going to play, and also which piece on which piano. So it is something that we cannot find anywhere, only here. And they have a choice in which piano they want to play. Of course, they cannot try so long. It's difficult for them. It's difficult to choose. It's difficult to adapt their play, and it's a lot of stress. And I understand that it's very hard for them. But for us and for the audience, I think that it's very interesting because we can listen to different sound, to different way of imaging this music, and it's why it is so. I'm so happy to be there to listen, and also to see how many young pianists now are interested to try and to try to understand Chopin music maybe differently, because Chopin, when he wrote his music, he didn't have the new modern piano. He had only the piano from his time. Maybe today, if he knew this modern piano, changed a lot of things, but we have to imagine that at that time he had Pleyel, he had Buchholz, maybe Vienna's mechanism, and what is all his indications on the score, and there is many indications, as you know, and especially for the pedal, for example. All of this has to be understood by this period instrument. And after, of course, we don't want to play always Chopin music on period instruments. It is impossible. There is not enough piano. But it's very good to open the ears and to open the mind. And I'm very happy that so many young pianists now are interested in it. It's always very difficult to explain what is the way to judge, because in the jury you have many personalities, many culture, different culture. Also the candidates are coming from different culture, different schools also. And the way to judge is always the same, even we are here with period instruments. What is important? Of course, it is first the music, what is written on the score, but to understand what is written on the score, it's not only a question of read the music, it's a question of understanding. And how the people who play understand music means that we can, when they play, understand what they want to give to us as a message. And if it is a modern piano or period instruments, we can hear if they have a message very clear to the audience, because this music has to come from the stage to the audience. And even people in the audience are not specialists of music, they can feel the music. This is the great mystery of this music and the great universality of Chopin music especially, because in each part of the world people like this music, and they are touched in the heart by this music. So the message of Chopin has to go from the stage to the audience, and it is what we try to understand. But we are not the only one, in the audience too. If you are sitting in the audience and you listen to the candidates, and sometimes you are completely in the music and you feel this music, and sometimes maybe not so much, maybe you can have some ideas exterior of the music, because maybe the message is not so clear. So this is not a question only of how they play on the piano, or how they have the control of the fingers, or how they do this or this part, or tempo, or some technical. I think what is very important is what we feel and what we can appreciate of the message. Preludium is a special way to prepare the audience to the tonality of the piece which is coming, and it's a use of the 19th century. Of course, we don't do this in the traditional concert with modern instruments, but it's very interesting, and it shows sometimes how they can imagine something interesting. This a way of free part of their personality, so it's interesting, but it's of course not the main thing. It's just, and variants, it's always very also interesting, because Chopin always changed things, played maybe not the same way exactly, and there is many and many variants, and sometimes some of them are very interesting. Sometimes we can prefer other things that we know, but there is not only one version which is the best version, best variant. I think that it's interesting to know and to appreciate difference, but it's not the main thing. Main thing is message we come from this music, and understanding that we can have without any reflection, but direct. My first, the first time was in 1995, and this is the year where I became artistic director of the Chopin Festival in Nohant. At that time, I was artistic director for the first time, first year, and same time, I discovered in my town near Paris an instrument of Pleyel from 1837, which was completely destroyed. Nobody knows why this piano is there, and it was the property of the town. So I went to go to see the mayor of the town, and I said, we have to do something for this instrument. I was not interested especially by this type of instrument, but it was the first time I said. But I thought that it was important to do something to save this instrument. And I created an association with some friends of mine to find funds to pay for restoration of this instrument. And it was in 1995, 96 we do this association. Today, arriving from Paris, 40 people from this association are coming to this competition to listen to finals. So you see, it is almost 30 years after, and we did a lot with this instrument, because after the restoration in 1999, I put this piano in George Sand's house in Nohant. Janusz Oleniczak was there, and we met for the first time, and he played on this piano. I played on it also, and since that time I became to be very interested to understand how many indications of Chopin are in link with the special characteristic of these instruments. And all indications of Chopin about dynamics, about pedal, are extremely linked with the instrument. And when you understand that, and when you understand that you can play the period instrument to experiment all indications, after that you can play on modern instruments with another idea of Chopin music. Because with the time, Chopin music on biggest instruments like grand concert piano became very, very noisy, very, very virtuoso, and sometimes it can be understanding, of course. For example, I played recently the first concerto with orchestra. Of course, the last movement and the coda of this concerto is very brilliant, and we need all of this. There is no problem. But sometimes for other things, we don't need so many powerful. But on the historical pianos, we don't have so much power. So we have to manage much more control the progression of dynamics and how to have in the little space of sound much more gradation, much more sensibility. And it's very interesting because if you do this, if you do research in this domain, you can control better the modern piano. And you can give with the modern piano also a different way to play Chopin music. And I think there is not Chopin music on historical piano and Chopin music on modern piano. There is only comprehension, understanding of Chopin music, and the historical piano can help us to understand. I have 13 instruments.
13 instruments?
Yes, yes. I have a big space, so I have instruments from not our time, Bösendorfer Grand Concert, Steinway from 1930, Bechstein from 19, and I have Streicher from Vienna from 1870, Bösendorfer from 1870, and also Pleyel from Chopin time. And all of these instruments are different, and they are linked with the period and also the land. For example, Pleyel is from 1920, is so good for Ravel music. It's when you put the fingers on the piano, the sound is already Ravel. You almost have nothing special to do. And on the Bösendorfer, Schubert is immediately Schubert. And each land has a culture, which is a culture with a factory, musicians, composer, interpreter, and all together, there is something very, very close. And what I want to say is that I do recordings on modern piano and I do recordings on historical piano. But the last one I did is both. So there is all valse from Chopin on Pleyel 1837 on one CD. And in the same box there is other CDs with all valse from Chopin with Bechstein Grand Concert piano. And they are together sometimes very close, sometimes very different, of course. And I explain in the booklet, in French, but I explain why there is, for example, difference of timing. Sometimes this is longer on the older piano and shorter on the modern piano. Modern piano has a sound which is great, but when there is attack of the notes, the attack is very high. And after it's done very hard too, very fast, and not so long. On the historical piano, the attack is not so, but it keeps longer. So it is easier to have something with singing. And Chopin always said, piano has to sing. But it's easier on the historical piano than on the modern piano. On the modern piano, you have more percussion. This recording is very recently, but I did in 2004 Preludes from Chopin, two versions, one on 1837 Pleyel and one on Pleyel Modern from 2004, new construction. And it was the same idea, is to show that the same music played on historical instrument or modern piano, of course, is different. But one is not better than the other. It's just different.